Music can do a lot to enhance the mood and atmosphere of your podcast. Here are some things to consider. Avoid music that you don't have permission to. This might seem like a no-brainer, but many do it anyways, and if you're not careful, it could result in a potential lawsuit. A more likely scenario, though, would be that your podcast will get flagged and either taken down or demonetized, much like YouTube does now with videos. Some will argue certain uses are permitted, also known as fair use, and that's fine, but my feeling is that it's best to be cautious and avoid having to fight for it in the future. There are many sites where you can find affordable music license, but of course, we recommend using our site, archesaudio.com. Instrumentals are usually best. The reason being is that you are most likely going to be talking over the music, and if they're singing, it will make it hard for listeners to understand your speaking voice over the singing in the music. Usually the music that works best for an intro will have 2 bars or measures, about 4 to 6 seconds, of somewhat sparse instruments, might be just a guitar or just drums, followed by a part where the rest of the instruments kick in. From there, you can shorten it or add fades. Choose music that doesn't distract. If you're placing music in the background during the middle of episodes as people are talking, it's usually best to choose softer music that is less busy, without loud percussion or a prominent melody, so you don't distract the listener from the person talking. Transition music. If your podcast will have different segments or breaks for ads, it's a good idea to think about adding music in between to break things up a bit between sections. Traditionally, in radio or podcast, they use what is known as bumper music, which are short pieces of music under 15 seconds designed for that purpose. You can also edit longer songs to serve this purpose, or use a fade-in, fade-out approach. Commission custom music. If you want your podcast music to be truly unique, consider hiring a composer or musician to create a custom theme. The music could potentially have singing that incorporates the title or tagline of your podcast. Again, we recommend ourselves, archesaudio.com, for custom theme music. We include a full song plus shorter edits you can use for transition and bumper music. Sound effects. Not every podcast needs sound effects, but consider if yours should. An audio drama most definitely would, but it can also add a fun tone to a more traditional style of a podcast. For example, a podcast on film could incorporate a film reel sound. A podcast on financial advice could have a cash register sound. A podcast where people give a rating on something could have a drum roll before they announce a score. A great place to find free sound effects is freesound.org. Note that each sound effect has its own requirements. Some of them require attribution, some can only be used for non-commercial purposes, but some are labeled public domain and are free to use any way you choose. Audio Jungle is another great resource where you can license sound effects for usually $1 to $3. Pick out and download some music or sound effects to use for your podcast.